Dirt and Draft. My name is Jesper Anker, and as always, I'm your host on this Wednesday. I guess it's super morning if you're racing in America, but if you're in Europe or anywhere else, it's afternoon to evening. Thank you so much for tuning in on Zwift Community Live. If you're watching on Facebook, Mixer, YouTube, wherever else this is live, powered by Zwift Community Live. But I think, as I'm getting the chat up on my phone because I want to read your comments, we need to take just a moment to appreciate the fact that Team Draft, the organizers of this race, and some of the dirt members have gone out of their way to change their names just to make it more difficult for me to figure out who is who. And not only have they chosen, for at least to me, completely random names that make no sense, they have chosen names from NASCAR. I have I know perhaps one NASCAR driver, but only because of his affiliation with Zwift, which is Dave Earnhardt Jr., I think his name is. And I think that's I'm calling Matt Gardner on that one. It feels like he would take the reins on that one, but they've changed their names. So after, what is this, 7 weeks of the morning grind Fondo, they went, right, it's too typical, it's too much Swift racing. We're going to go out and change your names and get back in and start racing. So tonight or this evening or this morning, wherever you're watching, this should be fun. We're going to have 10 laps. 10 laps of the LaGuardia Loop, as you can see. 10 laps LaGuardia Loop reverse, a course I've yet to see on Swift, so I'm fascinated to see how this turns out. Last week, we were on the Volcano Climb course that saw Matt Kubo of Velocity take another win. He's actually made his way up into second place overall in the rankings in this race, but that's still being led by Greg Leo. There's a few more weeks left of the morning Grand Final before we find the overall winner. As always, I believe it's your best 9 races out of 12 that count towards the top standings, so you've still got plenty of time to get involved if you're watching and you want to get involved in some of the best racing on Zwift. But if we take a look on tonight, we have Jay Gordon. I assume that's a NASCAR changed name because I don't know anyone out of Belgium representing a Rafa Cycling Club named Jay Gordon, so I'm going to assume that is Lionel Vuijsen. I'm calling out your bluff. I can see it's you. Right through and through, my friend. That's definitely you. We also got Stephen Wu racing for Faster Than Light, also works for Zwift in the Asian department, I believe. We got Mon Rich out on course. Tim Fulford has raced this man in the past. Quite a strong racer and not scared of putting in the hurt of other riders. We got M. Buckle. This is just not like Matt Gardner. I gotta give it to you. This is gonna make it so difficult for me to pronounce, to figure out who is who. We got Gavin Dempster, who races Red Bull. I'm like, no, come on. What is this? What is this? I like the comment that Matt Gardner put out. He said, like LaGuardia reverse, all right turns? What is this? In the chat, I see we've got Gavin Dempster, Stephen Wu, Nathan Guerra, Stefan Lewendorf, Lionel Vuijsen, Jason Stern, Russ Crowder, and Yep Tolbo. Let it be known if you're in the chat. Give me a shout out, give me a heads up, and I will give you a shout out. If you got any questions in regards to what you're seeing on the screen in this race, please let me know as well, because as you know, I say this every time, but it doesn't make it less true. When I cover the Australian races, when I cover the E-Crits, which is usually the ones I go to that I get the pleasure of broadcasting, I have my trusty friends, either Pat Shaw or Wesley Salzberger by my side, and we can kind of riff-raff back and forth as we do the commentary. But for this Swift stream, for the last 7 weeks, as we've been doing the morning Grand Fondos, we've been doing the Swift Riders Germany Autumn Series, we've been doing KISS on Thursdays, it's just been me and you. So I really rely on you coming up with some witty comments, some nice remarks, some good observations to make this more fun and interesting. We got Jeffrey Keel as well, racing for Team Vision. As always, the South African national champion, racing under the American, not the American, the Australian flag. Lionel Vuijsen says, this Jeff Gordon is stylish, with a few emojis. I do not doubt that. But Lionel should be tired because yesterday he raced the Flanders race, the Tour of Flanders, I think it's called, where they have like an overall standing and whoever's leading gets a yellow jersey and gets a beacon. And they went up the Alpe de Zwift yesterday, and I think Mr. Jeff Gordon was in that race actually, so he must be feeling it somewhat today. I don't think I see Greg Leo. I don't think I see Kim Little. I don't see Leandro Messinio on the start line tonight. I do see the Spucker of Team X. He is an absolute unit. That doesn't make him any less lethal. As you can see, everyone getting sprint jerseys because nobody has gone this way very often. So Is this Oprah Winfrey? Does everybody get a sprint jersey? Is this what's happening? Let's see if we can get every right on before they go away. Oh, no, I'm not fast enough, but I tried. Rusty Dev says, come to the shop, Jesper. Oh, man. Rusty, Ben Gove approached me with a challenge. He said, Jesper, if I can get 200 likes on your Zwift stream, will you come to the chop? And I'm not a man to say no to that. So I said, go for it, Ben. If you can get it, I'll race it. So he's trying to do it right now, but there's no way in hell. There's no way Ben Gove is ever going to get 200 likes on that. Michael Yarder says, 120 million of funding. $120 million. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, if you missed this news, Eric Min earlier this morning put a post on Zwift Rider saying, news is about to break in a few minutes that we've just completed another funding round and we've raised $120 million. And Zwift has come from very humble beginnings to now employing over 200 people. I do encourage you to go read that just to understand the magnitude of what you're seeing and what's happening on the screen right now as the whole indoor fitness, virtual cycling, sport, esports, physical activity movement grows bigger and bigger. And yes, you can buy a lot of Nespresso capsules for your coffee machine for 120 millions. Like, you can get some orange ones, you can get some green ones, you can get some black ones, maybe some more orange ones, maybe dip back into the green ones. I mean, wow, that is a lot. Jeff Johnson says, have a great race, everybody. Thank you, Jeff. Yeah, but says, first question, is there coffee? I don't know if you can hear this. I don't know what sound this is going to make, but yes, I do have my trusty cycling hub mug filled up with a Nespresso coffee. I wouldn't do these streams without a coffee, of course, because you got to stay hydrated. And the same thing goes for the racers out on course as they do the LaGuardia loop. If you've not seen the LaGuardia loop, it's inside Central Park. It's the shortest loop of them all. It's about 2.5 kilometers in length. They'll be doing it 10 times today. And it's undulating. It's tough. Like, when you look at it, you go, it's not that difficult. But when you do it, it hurts. Words cannot describe, if you are not up there with the fittest, how difficult this course is. Because if you look at the top right-hand corner of the screen, you can see the gradients. It's undulating every single meter of the course, every single feet, every single inch, to use the NASCAR terminology, as Dave Earnhardt Jr. is on the front. But yes, every corner, every lap, every meter of road surface, it goes up and down. We're up to 2% now. And if you're not sitting at around 4.5 to 5 watts per kilo FTP, it really just hurts. But it looks like we do have a professional cyclist out here today. We do have Mr. Sturgis. And if you're not familiar with that kit because you are a NASCAR fan, first of all, shame on you. Second of all, that is Sturgis from Madison Genesis, local racing team here in the UK. And it looks like he's taken up the baton to race some of the big Swifters on Zwift tonight. This race, of course, is double draft. So it's double the draft, or true draft, or draft 2.0, or whatever name we've settled on now, thanks to Simon Schofield and the Zwift cast, meaning that it's more difficult to break away, but if you break away, it's more likely to stick than not. So we're going to see a few riders. It'll be interesting to see what the strategy is, because I don't see the big sprinters, unless they've changed their names, of course. Like, I see Mick Kemper's in here. He's quite strong. He won a kicker the other day in Amsterdam. Sealand is in here as well from Innovation Cycling. He's quite strong. Looking further down, Ryan Lyons is always a strong racer when it comes to Zwift racing. Mellow Johnny of Vision is in here as well from Australia. Already given that man a ride on. But I don't see the big sprinters. I don't see Matt Kubo, who'd be a force to be reckoned with. So there not being an out-and-out favorite sprinter in this race, it opens up the possibility for someone else to shine today. Who that's going to be, I'm not too certain, but I remember last week, Mick Kemper was kicking himself because he was like, oh, I was so annoyed. I was in the race and I was not like, oh, I just didn't have the legs and I wanted to do more. I just couldn't do more. And, oh, trust me, Mick, I know exactly how you feel. Like, I've been exactly there before. Not at your strength, though. Not at the 5 watts per kilo FTP trying to go pro, but at the 3.7 to 4.1 range, yes, I know exactly what that is. But we're seeing a few riders in here. We got, how do you pronounce this name? M. True Jr. 5 Hour Energy. M. True? True? They've even changed the avatars. Whoever this is brilliant. I love this. This could be, let's think who this could be. Let's go through the process of elimination because we know Matt Gardner's in this race. We know Gavin Dempster is in this race. That leaves one man left. I believe this could be none other than Mr. Matt Brandt himself, disguised as M. True Jr. And if I'm pronouncing it wrong, go right ahead in the chat and call me out because I am not a NASCAR driver. I know how to take a right turn versus a left turn. But you got Hamilton in here as well. P. Hamilton of 7 up. Let's see if we can figure out who this is. So I can't quite tell where he is in the course. Where is he? This could actually be Matt Kubo. I think this could be Matt Kubo actually. I think this is him. This is difficult. You're having a better day today, Jesper. Oh, sorry, Mick. That's good, man. Dude. Mick, I'm expecting big numbers today. I saw you in Amsterdam. I saw the emotion. I saw the enthusiasm. I saw the level of anticipation you had in yourself going into the race. You were the first one up. You were the last one down. I want to see you produce the same sort of energy in today's race because that's going to get me super pumped up, man. I'm sure it's going to get everyone else pumped up as well. Rusty Dev says, Jasper, is the Cycling Hub jersey coming in game? The Cycling Hub jersey is in the game. And we'll be doing a jersey unlock tomorrow, actually. So 7 p.m. our time, GMT in the UK. You can do the conversion to whatever time zone you're in. So if you want to unlock the Cycling Hub kit tomorrow at 7 p.m. on Zwift, one and only ever time, the Cycling Hub kit will be available to be unlocked in Zwift. So if you want it, Rusty, you can do it. You can ride the group ride. 4 laps Volcano Flat tomorrow. Social, it's chilled, and you get a nice new piece of kit at the end. Looks like Jeff Gordon has gone off the front at 8 watts per kilo. He's trying to break away. Matt Sinclair says, if Carl Sturgis drops the watts a few K to go, it's all over. This is the misconception, though, Matt, because, by the way, Stian, I'll get to your question in a second regarding double draft. This is the misconception with Zwifting and, like, power, because Cole Sturgis is strong. You can see he's an absolute unit by looking at his avatar. He's definitely up there in the size-wise. But absolute watts are a lot on Zwift, but they're not everything. So if you were to go mental a few kilometers from the end, I would say the clever foxes of Zwift, as the Gavin Dempsters, the Matt Brandts, the Matt Gardners, the Kubos, the Vujasins, the Lions, the Monriches, the Keels, they'd be clever enough to just sit on his wheel. Just let him go. Like, just sit in, and as he accelerates, you draft, and eventually Cole Sturgis would go, I don't have anything left. And that's where Lionel Vujasin, comes around and goes for it. I know, ex-World Pursuit champion. Shit, I didn't know that, but yeah. Point still valid, though. Like, we saw at the CVR World Cup in Los Angeles, Lionel Sanders is incredible on a bike. The man can put out power for days. Yet he didn't win. It was Adam Silverman, the U.S. national champion of Zwift. Numbers are great. Watts are amazing. But it also comes down to racecraft. And that is something you just cannot. That's something that comes with experience. And we'll see if Cole Sturgis. Colin says, laters. First race in Zwift. I'll try again when I'm fitter and lighter. It looks like Matt. He's just pulled out. It looks like he's just said, that's it. I'm done. I think so. I don't see him anymore near the front. So yesterday we did cover, I had the pleasure of broadcasting a race for this guy called Cycling Cam on YouTube, Cameron Jeffers. He was racing his coach of St. Piran on the game, and Tim Fulford and I sat down and DS'd him and recorded it and goes live on his YouTube channel later today. But it's fun to see how these professional cyclists are now getting involved with this whole indoor virtual fitness phenomenon that is Zwift and other platforms, because they want to get involved because they can see the potential, they can see the future, and let's be honest, they can see the fun aspect of it. So Matt Sinclair says, I'm going to WhatsApp him abuse now. You should, man. Just tell him 10 kilometers in, 12 minutes. Is that how long Colin Sturgis lasts? Don't say who that was from. There was a question before from Stjen who asked, I like double draft. Do you, Jesper? Double draft is an interesting concept because double draft is so controversial. Double draft has been the most polarizing topic besides World Swap, beside velodromes on Zwift in quite a while, because you either like it or you don't. There's really no middle ground. There's not many people that go, I am neutral, I am indifferent when it comes to double draft. You're either on one side of the spectrum or you're on the other. And I like double draft. I'll be honest. I have raced double draft once. I have seen double draft racing at least 10 times now. And from my one experience of racing it, it made it more strategic, more tactical for me. I could sit at a lower overall wattage, stay in a group, and have more in the end. It was more of an actual race than it was a workout. But I do understand the other end of the spectrum where it comes from, like the high-end Swifters such as Kim Little, Tim Fulford, whoever else is outspoken versus double draft in the Adam Webb, I guess, in the past, is that it turns it from a workout, it turns it from aggressive racing into a pretty much guaranteed set on sprint. Because it's so difficult to break up a race when nobody has ever had to burn a match. With double draft, you don't really have to do much. You can guarantee yourself a way into the sprint finish. And if you are a Jebbe Tolbull, if you are a Tim Fulford, if you are a Kim Little, you have that kick at the end. And so you just sit in and go, that's another Zwift race. With double draft, I thought initially it would add variance, and it did because there was a adjustment period where everyone got used to it and got ready for it. But then that kind of just passed because then everyone figured out, right, like, because there was, I don't know if you've seen this, but there was a moment, there was a race where Fusion ECT, powered by Wahoo and SIS Sports, attacked with 6 of their riders on a race on New York. They attacked. Every single one of them popped an aero power up. They attacked, and they tried to do a team time trial away from the blob. But it didn't work. And that's where the problem is with double draft. Is in theory, on paper, it's amazing. But in actuality, in practicality, it doesn't always work out the way it should do. So I can see both ends of the spectrum as Mick Kemper is 2 seconds off the front. If they could somehow nail the middle ground of double draft, of making it more realistic, more like, I don't know, like just make it so that the variance is more permanent. Because every Zwift race after a while, having commentated a lot of them over the 2 years, they have the same arc. They start the same, they have the same middle and the same ending. Double draft for a while threw a spanner in that works. Every course when they come out throw a spanner in the works. They change because of variance, because people have not raced every single course to death. They don't know when to put down power. They don't know when the gradients are going to go up. Double draft did this to racing. They came in and everyone was suddenly, wait, I don't have to do as much. I can sit in. Or, oh, if I get away now. And now suddenly, instead of having 10 people to make a blob, 3 riders make a blob. So therefore, we just need to have 3 riders off the front. So I would love to hear your opinion on double draft. I personally like the idea of it. I don't like the execution of it. But it's still very early on. And I think the biggest tell of the success of double draft was the fact that KISS, the biggest race organizer on Zwift — I'm sorry, Morning Grand Fondo guys, I'm just going to talk about the other ones for a second, but we're all one big pond. KISS introduced double drafting as a staple in Zwift racing. They said from now on, every KISS race will have double draft. Then after a month of trialing and testing, KISS decided to revert back to no double draft. And if the biggest and best — well, not biggest and best, the biggest and most — well, it is the best. The most reputable race series on Zwift — there's no such thing as a bad or a poor race series. That's my apologies. But if the biggest and most reputable race series on Zwift does not like the concept or does not want to continue with the concept, then it doesn't work. But that was the double draft. That was totally the double draft. You got Stinlick saying your comment is correct, Jesper. Thanks. Jebbe says, agree with you on double draft, Jesper. I see Peter Lago of Elite has turned in. Thank you. Hey, how you doing, Peter? A long time no see. But we're about halfway through the race. It's 30 kilometers in total. Stephen Wu is still in there. Trickle's in there. O'Malley of Finesse. That must be Jonathan Girone. Or maybe it's a normal guy who hasn't changed his name to a different — it's this. So if you're just tuning in, what the Swifters did this time around in the Morning Grand Fondo is that they all decided to take a name of a professional NASCAR driver. So this is Gavin Dempster, now known as D. Coulthard of Red Bull. He's gone off the front, but they've changed their names to just make it more difficult for me. After this, they're going to sit back and enjoy their donuts and laugh at the misfortune of me trying to pronounce these American names, the Coulthard, the Truss, the Dale Earnhardt Jr., etc. Oh, some people are just, ugh. Let's see some more questions. Shinlook says, DD gives a more outside feel of a race. Jeffrey Keel says, bring back the hammers. What else is being said in the chat? Jeff Johnson says, Lionel, that hill climb you did yesterday looked brutal. It must have been. Jeff Johnson says, Martin, did you see my post on Zwift riders? And he also says, Hammer 2 peak power is inflated by 4 to 10% based on my test, but overall ride average is spot on. Oh, did we go down this path? Do we? We got 43 people watching right now. I think, since we've already discussed double draft and we've got Gavin Dempster off the front, we may as well continue down this path. If you've seen Jeff Johnson's post on Zwift Riders, if you've seen Adam Webb's post on Zwift Racers, there is some talk going around right now about the Cyclops hammer being involved in Zwift racing. And the way Zwift racing community works is there's always going to be the next bad boy of racing. In the past, it was the Elite Turbo Muin because the accuracy wasn't. It was a cheap and reliable trainer, but it wasn't the best for racing because it sometimes inflated your numbers and it would make your average Zwifter a really, really good Zwifter, like a really strong one. The big example I can think of this was Quentin Lefebvre back in the day when he won Tour de Zwift. He was on an Elite Turbo Muin, then he upgraded and got a power meter, and suddenly he lost 0.7 to 0.8 watts per kilo. And of course, that was back then when Zwift racing wasn't really that big, and so it wasn't really put that much attention on this. But now that the hammer has been put into focus, it's interesting to see how the community is reacting, because I've been saying this for a bit now, that after I raced on a hammer in Vancouver for the CVR World Cup, is that the hammer at peak power, I feel it overreached by like 200 to 300 watts. That is an outrageous statement, and that's based on no evidence whatsoever based on that, other than that one race I did on it, and also the observations I made from watching and commentating that race. Because out of nowhere, I could jump on a hammer and smash it and hit like 13 to 1400 watts. And we all know me, and we all know that's not realistic. I can hit 1150 on a good day, but to hit those sort of numbers. And then there was some testing done, and what they found out was that, or at least the people that have done the testing, the guys that have gone on, I saw Eugene Chan went on to the DC Rainmaker side and did testing on the Hammer 2. And what he found out is that at peak power, it's way above. But on an average over a long ride, it works. So, this is interesting. Martin Tucker said, Jonathan Levy showed me a test last night. Peak power was 210 watts more. So I guess my observation or my gut feeling regarding the hammer was spot on. And you might ask, why does this matter, Jesper? But 200 watts in a sprint on Zwift is the difference between winning and losing. And when all these things are happening, like the e-racing that's been announced with British Cycling, the KISS Super League, and all these things are happening on Zwift in terms of the racing environment, when you have a device like the Hammer 2, which is supposed to be very accurate and top tier, when you come into a sprint, everyone is equal. The hammer over a longer period of time does average out to there not be much difference. But coming into the sprint, the hammer will turn a mediocre to good sprinter into Mark Cavendish, into Marcel Kittel, into a Peter Sagan, a Fernando Gaviria, a Kim Little. And that is really the issue, is there's no industry standard for a racing device on Zwift yet. There's not one. The closest you can get is a Wahoo kicker. Like that is my personal opinion right now. The closest you can get to an overall or a Tax Neo. Those are the two. Like, if you wanted to be on a smart trainer with a power taken from that, that is probably the closest you're going to get. Maybe the Drevos out there too. I'm not too experienced. I've yet to actually ride a Drevo because I've just not been around one. But these are the issues that Zwift face as they now head into 2019 with 120 million in the bank and a desire to head into more Zwifting esports. Well, these are the issues that we all know they're going to have to look into, because we are the racing community. Like, we are the community. We are the racers, and we can see these issues and we can spot them, but we can't do much to fix them. Yebetobel, a really good friend of mine, says, a cold kicker core will overread. Mine did last Tuesday in the KISS race. I used my Power 2 Max as source now. Here's, this is the question as we've got 12 kilometers left of the race. And I know this has turned into more of a a podcast broadcast today, but I do apologize. It's just that the LaGuardia loop isn't the most entertaining for racing. It's tough as hell, but there isn't that much action throughout the race. But this is the interesting part though, because you as a racer, you have it's like I don't know, like you are responsible for your own results. Like if Jebbe had two choices when he found out his kicker core overreads. He could either stick with it and use it and just enjoy the like it's almost like having diamond in your legs for a day, or you can go back to a power 2 max and then you're gonna rely on the guy next to you. Like this is the question. What would it take? Like what would it require for like one trainer to become the staple of all racing on like virtual platforms? What would that like in the chat? This is a funny an interesting thought experiment that I'd like you guys to participate in, because it seems like we got a lot of the vocal Swift Racers community guys here, like Jeppe, Martin, Wendy, etc. If you were to make a trainer for Swift Racing, what would it require to have? Like, would it require to have a built-in scale, a closed protocol that could not be hacked, a power meter that reads into the whatever ninth degree or the nth degree of preciseness? Would it have to be wired in through like USB so you can avoid dropouts? Why has no like with 120 million put into Swift? This should be a wake-up call to all the manufacturers around the world that if they are investing in racing and all these sort of things, maybe you as a producer, as a as a maker of hardware that supports this software, how can we support this movement? Because that's, as a business owner myself, if I was interested in hardware, that is probably where I'd be looking in the future. Luke Patterson is in here. Brad Curtis is watching. We've got about 10 kilometers left of racing. We got 10 laps of total LaGuardia Loop Reverse, powered by the morning Grand Fondo, Dirt, and Draft. Looking at the people still left in the group, True Junior of 5 Hour Energies in here. We got Gavin Dempster, Matt Gardner. this is still funny every time. Lionel Vujasin, despite a few reckless attack off the front, he's still in here. Earlier on, we did have Colin Sturgis, who was here, but Colin Sturgis was in here of Madison Genesis. He put up a message saying, guys, that's it. I'm gone. But on that note, take a quick sip of your coffee, take a sip of your water, enjoy it, recover, regenerate, and stay hydrated. If you're racing, if you're watching, if you're sitting behind your computer at work and you're watching this, if you've, I was going to say just woken up in the US, you're enjoying your breakfast cereal or your eggs on toast, whatever you're having, take a sip of your coffee. Thank you for joining me. I'll be back in just 5 seconds. It's gotta be coffee, everybody. You cannot have a Swift Community Live broadcast without coffee. At least not a Jesper hosted one. Nick Hansen says, if people want to cheat, they will find a way. Gotta go, says Rusty. Thanks for the hey, Rusty, thank you so much, man. I hope to see you tomorrow for the kit unlock of the Cycling Hub kit. We have an attack off the front. Swift Riders Germany, Damitz, and Glavak have actually accelerated off the front with 8.5 kilometers to go, but they have not gotten anywhere. Nick Hansen, if people want to cheat, they will find a way. Yeah, but you can eliminate the ways. You can eliminate the ways that somebody can actually cheat. I don't know how difficult it is, and it's a thought experience more than anything else. But I do agree with you. Yes, but like right now, you're just racing on an honor code that you believe the guy next to you has put in the correct weight, the correct height, is on a correct trainer. And for anyone who's tried to race at this time of night, that trust sometimes gets a bit broken. Hey, Johnny. True Junior. These names, I'm trying to decrypt who they are. This is definitely Matt Gardner. True Junior, I believe, is Matt Brandt. This is Gavin Dempster, I think, but I'm not too certain. There's Mobile One. I can't. Based on the kit, it's difficult. I know one of these guys is Matt Kubo. And I'm thinking that Matt Kubo should be the outright favorite because there's no other sprinter on the start line tonight. So Matt Kubo. But which one is Matt Kubo? Second overall in the morning Grind Fondo series. I do not know. Yeba Tolba says, I'm only responsible for my own data. I will not cheat. If people know that they're smart trainer overread and just don't care, it's bad sportsmanship. Luke Patterson says hi to you as well. That is one thing, Yeba, that I think your team does really well. I've been really As a Dane, I've been really proud to follow the success and the growth as we have an attack off the front. 191 beats per minute. Mr. True Jr., 5-hour energy. He's definitely suffering. It looks like Gavin Dempster is going with him. They're definitely trying to light things up. But as a Dane, I've been really proud to watch the I was going to say the explosion, but the growth of the Fusion ECT's SIS Wahoo team, because you came in with a mission, with a statement that you wanted to be the esports team in cycling, and you really hit the nail on the head. Like, came in, proper branding, proper support, proper communication, proper guest riders. You have a development team, and also your ethos, your morals. They, like, as a Dane, I really got to say, yeah, but I am really, like, you should please relay this message up through the chain of command at Fusion. You guys are doing one hell of a job. Luke Patterson says, I joined you this year's Zwift event in Leeds. Very good event. Hey, man, I'm glad you came out. I'm glad you came out, man. Leeds was a good event. I had Chris Pritchard by my side, and Chris definitely knows how to make a crowd laugh. He is definitely full of charm, charisma, and he occasionally races Zwift himself as well on his own YouTube channel, where he will talk you through the race as he's sitting at 185 ppm. Not something I could do. Dammit is here. He's quite strong. Buckle, Salin. Salin is he's usually around, and he's got proper suckling. He's a rider to look out for as we come into the sprint. We got about 6 kilometers left, so that's about 3 more laps of the LaGuardia loop. And then we're coming to the end. So you all know that I'm drinking my coffee right now. I want to know, what are you drinking? If you're in the race and you're still able to talk, Matt Gardner, etc., are you having electrolytes in your beat on? Are you having just plain water? I don't know what else you would have in your beat on. If you're watching this and you're not racing, like you're Jeppe, if you are Luke, what are you drinking? Are you also having a coffee? Maybe if you're from the UK, you're having a brew in the morning as you're sitting at work, feet up on the table, you're taking a break, and as your boss comes around, you're all tapping back and forth, and you've got me in your ears, but you don't want the boss to know, so you only got one ear on, one ear off, and you're trying to have 2 conversations at one, but it's not really working out, and you're trying to think, why are you not in this race? Luke Patterson says, I came 4th overall, just missing out on top 3 by a few milliseconds. Aw, you came. Oh man, that seems to be the theme of the Wahoo and Zwift tours this year. I had so many great friends who were like just 4th, like 0.2 of a second off the lead. Jeppe Tolba says Greg Leo's in the peloton. Greg Leo's in, I have Zwift Power open, and I don't see Greg Leo as what? No way, Greg Leo is in this. Greg Leo. Oh, this is interesting. So Gavin Dempster's attacked off the front. He's got like a 6 to 7 second gap. He's just caught the C group. He got a bit of a draft, and now he's gone again. And we know Gavin Dempster because Gavin Dempster did this crazy thing where he raced across Scotland. Just don't ask me why. Just don't, like, the worst country, like, for hills, of weather, for like temperature. He said, why not? Why not? So if there's anyone who can do a long, steady effort, it is Gavin Dempster. Mon Rich is accelerating over the top. So apparently, there is if Greg Leo is in here, and now because they changed their name to NASCAR drivers, because apparently Americans can only make left turns, I don't know which one is Greg Leo. I guess we'll find out when we see a 23 watts per kilo sprint at the end. Stephen Fleetwood says, watching from Kissa Bay, so just the sweat on my lip. That's at one time amazing, but also on the other hand, that is disgusting, Stephen. Right on, man. Keep going. Brent Letson says, in Australia, drinking red wine, 10 p.m. Well, in that case, Brent, cheers to you, my friend. Thank you so much for taking time out of your evening to come join us here in Zwift Community Live and watch the broadcast. Søren Bay is in the building. Danish national champion of Zwift, of course. Overall, great guy. Luke Patterson says, yeah, I was one of those. 0.4 seconds off the lead in Leeds. Now I'm trying to think back to Leeds. 0.4 seconds. Man, Leeds I remember best from that quite big guy who just did like 1,300 watts in the middle trainer and gave it everything for 10 seconds, and then he almost fainted when he went off the bike and he was laying on the ground looking up. That's how I best remember Leeds. But Leeds was fun. The UK tour with like Sam Lindsay, who races a lot on Zwift, won in Bristol. Where else did we go? Went a few places. I can't really remember. There's been too many tours. We've just done Amsterdam, Antwerp, and Luxembourg as well. Luxembourg was especially fun because that was at Andy Sleck's bike shop in Luxembourg. Jason Stone says, my money is on Matthew Buckle. Is that... Is that Greg Leo? Is that who Greg Leo is supposed? You know, after this, I should look up all these NASCAR drivers and see what they look like, because I would love to understand the reasoning behind you choosing these. And also, I love the fact that this is Lionel Vujasin, a Belgian, Flemish, or Wallonian cyclocross champion, who I don't believe knows an inch about NASCAR driving. He saw that the other guys were doing it, so he Googled NASCAR driver space good looking guy. And well, Jeff Gordon, that's me. At least that's how I imagine Lionel's thought process. Great guy, by the way, really strong on a bike. And he also won a kicker for his girlfriend at said event in Luxembourg at Andy Slick's bike shop. Mellow Johnny's up near the front. The Spucker. Glavak has gone off onto the attack again. I thought he was wearing the Christmas jumper for a second, but he's not. 2.5 kilometers to go. Luke Patterson's, yeah, I remember that. My profile picture was from the event. I got lucky and featured in about 4 photos. James Phillips, how's the arm, man? How you doing? He fell on the floor right in front of me. Yeah, poor guy. What a guy. But when you put in an effort like that, you'll definitely suffer for the consequences. So James Phillips, for you that don't know, really strong guy. Showed up to the Bristol event that was won by Sam Lindsay. Really, really strong on a bike when it comes to a sprint. Races for Innovation Cycling. I believe he crashed in a cyclocross race and had a bit of a spill, so he's out with an injury. And in the prime Zwift season, looks like he's not able to race as much. Same thing goes for Kim Little. So Kim Little raced the first few races of this series, and he was really strong and really dominant. Then he went for a run. An on-set run, he had a stumble, and he's out as well. So moral of the story, don't fall. Just don't fall. I believe this is the last lap of racing, everybody. I think this is it. So if you've got a bell, now is the time to ring it. Who's going to win it? Is it going to be Team Draft? Is it going to be Team Dirt? Vision, Zwift Riders Germany, Innovation, Finesse. A few different teams have shown up. Be typing... now I don't know if it's a NASCAR name or if it's a real name. Look at what you've done to me, Gardner. When you are going to have your post-race donuts and make fun about your trophies and make fun about the broadcast, just know that you did this. Stephen Cousin says, moral of the story is don't go running. Very ironic considering that's coming from the Zwift or running guy. But always good to have you in the chat, Stephen Cousin. Love your streams. Hashtag film my run. 8% as we're coming up to the incline of the reverse LaGuardia loop. According to Zwift Power, we've got about 1 kilometer left of racing now, actually. So next time we come to the finish line, that will be the sprint. So 1.5 kilometers if I look up towards the screen, because I can't see the banner anywhere. Jeff Gordon and Lionel Vujasin. James Phillips says, spinning easy now, mate. Can't really put the power just down yet. I'm sorry to hear that, man, but at least you're back on the bike, and I'm sure in no time you'll be back and ready to go. Leandro Messinio, the best racer on Zwift, has tuned into the chat as well. Missing you tonight, Leo, but thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting the draft team members. And once again, Matt Gardner never gets tired, always on the front of the fairs and goes for it. But you can see that is the finish line. If we zoom out, we're about to come up to the finish line very, very soon. Who's going to win? Who is going to win? I think the finish line is actually on the green intermediate sprint banner. So it's going to be a galloping to the line. I don't think any of these have really done the LaGuardia reverse sprint before. So it's going to be hectic. It's going to be chaotic. Everyone seems a bit rested and ready to go as True Junior goes off the front here. Team Draft, also known as 5-Hour Energy, more like 10-second energy, are going off the front with also Gavin Dempster. Here they go. They're going to turn in a second. 11 watts per kilo for Gavin Dempster as he's leading out the bunch. You can see Buckles up there. This is strong from Dirt Racing. Damage. I'm trying to pronounce these names from the NASCAR riders, but Buckle of Dirt is really going forward now. There can't be much left as they're soon going to come up to the sprint finish. You can see there it is. It's about 300 meters to go. Who is going to take the win tonight? It's Gavin Dempster coming around once more. He can see the finish line. That is it, ladies and gentlemen. Damn it, off Zwift Riders Germany. But no, Jeffrey Keel, Havoc, and I think Havoc might be Greg Leo with Lionel Vujasin in second place, Monrich in third, and Jeffrey Keel in 4th. P. Donahue tuned in to watch. Thank you so much for watching. Stephen Fleetwood says, remember, you can fall off Zwift. You can fall on Zwift too. Jesper? Stephen, shut up. Braga says, not even Siva verified. Sorry. Braga Bergen, who's a strong racer on Zwift, who's raced this race a lot, says, not even Siva set verified is idiot-proof, since it's a big difference in power meter too, so that problem will always be there. Live finals and similar rigs is the way to go for all situations Zwift has taken for what it is. I hope you've enjoyed it. I really enjoyed today's broadcast, and it was really fun to have this thought session with everyone watching, especially Jeppe and everyone else. Thank you so much for keeping me company. I will be doing the KISS racing tomorrow as well, so if you want to come back and watch that, you can do that. If you want to hit us up, we'll be right here on Zwift Community Live. Give it a follow, give it a watch. Happy holidays if you're not tuning in tomorrow. I love every single